I'm Maylin Dovan, certified athletic therapist and founder of Rehab-U Movement and Performance Therapy. Welcome to our YouTube channel. This week we're talking about coaching the bench press. Now, I will admit the bench press is maybe not my favorite exercise, but I still bench press, and I can still bench press a decent amount of weight. It reminds me of one time I was on vacation down south and we went to the gym and I actually did bench press that day. So I set up for my bench press and the trainer from the gym comes to see me and says, "You should put your feet on the bench to protect your lower back. What you're doing is dangerous." And I was like, no. So we're going to go into some of the common mistakes we see. That being said, the common mistake is not necessarily putting the feet on the bench, because I do still see people putting their feet on the bench in the bench press, but a lot less than many years back. But not creating tension though from the feet to the rest of the body, that is a common mistake that we will see. And the other common mistake that we'll see in the bench press is not maintaining upper body tension. It's not just a shoulder and pec, right, exercise. So we're going to go into how the lats are involved, how to optimize using that upper body tension. To start though, we're going to go into just the setup and the more like technical requirements for a proper bench press. Hey guys, thanks for watching our videos, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, so one of the first things with the bench press is going to be to determine the width of the grip. Now, again, we're talking about using a bench press to develop strength, right? So we're not talking about a closed grip bench press where your grip would actually be voluntarily narrower. But the grip should be, and either way, the grip should be such that when Pierre-Luc touches the bar down at the chest sternum area, his forearms are going to be vertical, okay? So that he's going to have that great leverage to push the barbell up. Come on back up. Now, again, you've heard me talk about vertical bar path when you're using the barbell. With the bench press, the bar path is not cleanly vertical. The bar starts over the shoulder joints, but it touches down at the chest and sternum level. So it's a bit more curved than a bar path on a squat or deadlift, for example. So maybe subtle when you see it, but bars over the shoulder joint, and it comes down a little bit lower on the chest. So the bar actually follows the path of the elbows, okay? But what we want to make sure is that those elbows are not flaring right out and that he's bringing the barbell right up over the shoulder joint. So that from a strength perspective is not going to be a good position and puts a lot of stress on the shoulder. So it's a bit more of a curved bar path. So that being said, let's start with the common mistake that we see. And like I said, it wasn't the feet on the bench, but if you do see someone with the feet on the bench, or if you were in that thinking that you needed to put the feet on the bench to protect the lower back, that's not exactly what we want to do. We actually want the legs to generate and the feet to generate force into the ground, and that will generate force up into the body. And that's going to create a stable platform as well, okay? So it's going to create some stability. Now, typically we'll want the person to set up with the shins just about vertical, okay? Just about perpendicular to the ground, or they can be a little bit, heels a little bit more underneath, like Pierre-Luc is here. And he's actually pushing into the ground with the whole foot. So if you're a shorter person, or if the bench is higher and you're just the tip of your toes on the ground, usually it's best to put some plates under there so that you can push with a flat foot into the ground. Either way, you should be wanting to push your heel towards the ground to kind of activate that hip extension. Now, it's activating a hip extension to create extension through the hips, the lumbar spine, and the thoracic spine, but it's not a bridge. So sometimes you'll see people bridge excessively, lifting the hips up off the bench. That's not what we're looking for, okay? And that's perhaps why people started to say, oh, we're going to overarch the low back, there's going to be pain there, let's protect the low back, the person is sensitive to extension, let's get their feet up on the bench to get them into flexion, okay? So we're not overarching the low back, but we're pushing the feet into the ground, activating the glutes, getting that hip extension, getting some extension in the lumbar and thoracic spine, because we want the chest to be held high. For a bench press, the chest has to be held high. Okay, so that's the positioning that we want for the lower body. It's not an exaggerated bridge. It's not looking like some sort of backflip like I see in the gym, but it's not feet on the bench, okay? So we want an active lower body creating that stable platform. So a great exercise for people to understand how that lower body tension contributes to their press and how to generate that proper lower body tension and not hyperextend the hips is an inclined or bridging floor press. So what we're going to get Pierre-Luc to do is he's actually on the floor and he's just going to bridge his hips up. So he's not hyperextended here. He's just bridging the hips up, and that's creating extension through the hips, lower back, upper back, and from there he's going to do his press. Good. So that gives him that feeling of how that tension created through the lower body is helping transfer strength to the barbell. Again, this is just to get a feeling, thanks Pierre-Luc, to get the feeling of what kind of extension am I looking for? How am I driving those feet into the ground? It's not a hyper-extension, hyper-bridge. Again, we're talking bench press for the layperson who's training, for the athlete who's training. Sometimes in powerlifting, you'll see different things. You'll see much more arch, although slowly, I think it's moving away from those crazy arches we sometimes see in the powerlifting world. The idea is to have tension through the lower body, okay, to help drive that barbell up. So have that leg drive in the bench press. So this exercise is a great way to help your clients or patients feel just how much leg drive they need, just how much extension they need to get into, and it's not a hyperextension. The second mistake that we'll see often is losing upper body tension. Now I mentioned earlier that yes, it's an upper body exercise, but again, it's more of like a full body exercise when you think about it, because you are using the feet in the ground to create that stable platform, and you're also using namely the lats, okay? So some of that, not creating enough tension is going to get fixed again with the proper setup. If you have proper setup and you're lowering the bar in the right position, then that will help you make sure that you have that proper tension. But again, engaging the muscles properly, engaging the shoulders properly is an important aspect. So what we want, Pierre-Luc's going to get into position. Is we want him to do a little bit of a rotation at the shoulder. So a bit of a break the bar. So he's kind of squeezing that bar, right? And one way we can help him maintain that, the lats active, is to give a slight resistance with the elastic. And as he does his press, that forces him to kind of pull the bar down, pull the bar in, and make sure those lats are engaged. Again, bar path is in line with the elbows, so proper setup will have fixed some of this, but you can use this variation to help him create an awareness of that, okay, staying tight in that upper body. We're having him work chest day here. Good. All right, guys, so that was coaching the bench press. So things that we see a lot, not using the legs to have leg drive, or using them wrong, or thinking that it's this major hyperextension, where really it's just driving those feet into the ground to create lower body stability, and two, having that upper body tension. Understanding proper setup, we went into the setup as well, helps, because some of those things will get corrected by themselves if your setup is appropriate right off the bat. Thanks guys for watching this video, and we'll see you again next week. If you're not subscribed yet, remember to do so. Click that subscribe button.